What makes one person silently walk into a room and be noticed, while another shouts and is still ignored? Why do some people command respect without asking for it, while others chase validation and never get it? What is it about certain individuals that turns them into a priority in the minds of others, without ever demanding attention? Look closely around you. In your office, your family, or your circle of friends, there's always that one person who speaks less but is listened to more. The one who isn't loud, but still stands out. The one who stays calm in chaos, yet everyone turns to when things fall apart. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's the power of unshakable presence, and it's built from within. Let's say you walk into a crowded train station. Two people are sitting side by side. One is restless, constantly checking their phone, tapping their foot. The other sits still, composed, eyes steady. People notice the second one more. Why? Because peace attracts. Because control speaks louder than noise. Because when your inner world is in order, the outer world listens. Welcome to Book Boost. If you believe true power is built, not begged for, then this video was made for you. We're diving deep into 10 Stoic rules that shift how the world sees you, without changing who you are. These rules are not tricks or tactics. They're a way of life. A way to become your own anchor, your own guide, your own source of value. So before we continue, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to Book Boost. We're building a space where silent strength wins and deep thinkers rise. Please drop down your one thought on believe in yourself in the comments. You never know who might need your words today. The truth is, if you don't value yourself in silence, the world will never value you in noise. Stoic thinkers like Epictetus believe that if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Why? Because public opinion cannot shape someone who is already whole. Being everyone's top priority begins with becoming your own. Self-control, presence, and clarity, these are not soft traits. They are rare powers. The modern world runs on reaction. But the Stoic stands apart, still, grounded, hard to move. And that's why people move toward them. Let's begin this journey. Because the deeper we go within, the higher we rise in the eyes of the world. You want to be respected. You want to be seen. You want to matter. But here's the paradox. The more you chase those things, the more they run away from you. In a world obsessed with image, attention, and validation, the Stoic path looks almost invisible. But that's where its power lies. A Stoic never begs to be valued. A Stoic becomes valuable. Not by performing, not by impressing, but by becoming strong on the inside. Not needing anything becomes the reason you attract everything. Authority doesn't come from shouting commands. It comes from mastering yourself. People follow those who don't flinch in chaos. People trust those who don't panic under pressure. And people look up to those who are not ruled by wants, emotions, or external praise. The truth is simple. What you desire owns you. What you crave controls you. But when you let go of needing approval, needing love, needing praise, you become free. And people are drawn to that freedom. This is not about pretending you don't care. It's about becoming so full inside that you no longer need to be filled by anyone else. This quiet strength is what the Stoics lived by. Marcus Aurelius didn't seek power. He accepted the burden of it and carried it with calm. Epictetus had nothing, yet was more powerful in thought than kings. Their secret? They wanted less, and so they lacked nothing. Think about someone you admire. Maybe they walk with calm confidence. Maybe they listen more than they speak. Maybe they never react in anger, never gossip, never chase attention. That is inner wealth. And inner wealth creates outer impact. You can't fake this. People sense desperation. People notice when you're chasing approval. You don't become important by trying to look important. You become important by mastering yourself so deeply that people feel something different around you, without you even trying. The Stoic seeks no crown. And yet, the Stoic is treated like a king. In daily life, this looks simple but feels powerful. You show up on time not to please, but because it's who you are. You keep your word, not to gain points, but because you live with order. You do the hard things not to impress, but because discipline is your way. Slowly, people begin to trust you. Then they admire you. Then they prioritize you. Not because you asked, but because you earned it. You don't need to compete. You need to stay consistent. The man who wants everything ends up with nothing. The man who desires nothing becomes the one others can't ignore. This is the Stoic law of gravity. The more still you become, the more others orbit around your presence. Let go of needing praise. Instead, become praiseworthy. Let go of wanting people to choose you. Instead, become the kind of person they must choose. Not because you asked, but because your discipline, your control, and your calm made you unforgettable. In Stoicism, the self is the only battlefield. You either win in your mind, or you lose everywhere else. And this war is silent. No one sees it. No one claps for it. No one thanks you for it. But it shapes everything. Your habits become your image. Your words become your weight. Your silence becomes your strength. People begin to see that you don't speak to dominate. You speak to contribute. You don't react to every insult. You let fools exhaust themselves. You don't follow every trend. You follow your principles. That kind of person becomes rare. And what is rare becomes valuable. When others panic, you think. When others rush, you wait. When others show off, you remain composed. This contrast is what draws attention without asking for it. The man who wants to be everyone's top priority must first remove the need to be seen at all. And from that emptiness, a deeper power rises, unshakable, silent, and pure. When you walk into a room with no desire, only purpose, you feel different. You don't need people to greet you. You don't need them to agree. Your presence does the speaking. Because you've built something inside that no one can give you, and no one can take away. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." But bravery doesn't mean force. It means being unafraid to be alone. Being unafraid to walk the harder path. Being unafraid to let go of comforts for the sake of character. This isn't a performance. This is a transformation. Desire less, and you'll be seen more. Speak less, and your words will weigh more. Ask for nothing, and you'll earn everything. That is the Stoic way of rising. Quietly, steadily, without apology, without noise. Because those who no longer need to be chosen become the ones no one can ignore. In this world filled with noise, silence is the most misunderstood power. Many think being silent means being weak, being passive, or being ignored. But true silence is not empty. True silence is full of control, discipline, and awareness. It is not the silence of fear. It is the silence of someone who sees everything and says only what is needed, when it is needed. The ones who speak less are not always without thoughts. In fact, they often have the deepest thoughts. A Stoic knows that words are tools, not toys. They are not to be thrown carelessly. Every word should carry weight. Every silence should speak even louder. Think about the last time someone remained calm while others were losing control. That person became the sinner. That person became the one others looked to. Why? Because in a world of panic, the calm person becomes the leader. That is what silence does. It makes people notice you, respect you, and trust you without you having to demand it. We live in a time where everyone is shouting to be heard. Social media, meetings, conversations, everyone wants to speak first, to speak loud, to speak more. But the Stoic stands in the background, quietly observing, calmly thinking. And when they finally speak, people listen. Not because they shouted, but because their silence made their words powerful. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." This applies to speech as well. If your words are always chasing attention, you lose control of their meaning. But if you speak with purpose, people start to give your words the attention they deserve. A Stoic does not fear being misunderstood in silence. He fears wasting truth in noise. We don't speak to impress. We speak to express what is necessary. And when nothing is necessary, we stay quiet, not because we are unsure, but because we are deeply sure of ourselves. Silence gives you time. It gives you space to listen to others, to your surroundings, and most importantly, to yourself. When you are silent, you start to hear your own mind clearly. You begin to notice how most people speak to escape silence. But a Stoic embraces it. Because in that silence, the real thoughts rise. The real strength grows. There is great power in saying nothing when provoked. When someone insults you, tests your ego, or tries to draw you into their emotional storm, your silence is not surrender. It is mastery. You're not holding back because you can't respond. You're holding back because you already won. You didn't give them your peace. You didn't let them control your state. That is what makes you unforgettable. And yes, it takes effort. It takes strength to be quiet when anger burns in your chest. It takes strength to hold your tongue when your pride is wounded. But every time you choose silence over reaction, you grow. You become harder to shake, harder to read. And slowly, you become the person others want to follow, want to trust, want to be around. People respect the one who listens more than they speak. It shows patience. It shows wisdom. It shows that you are not in a rush to prove anything. And ironically, that makes people believe you already have something worth proving. Seneca, another great Stoic, taught us this. It is a great thing to know the season for speech and the season for silence. Not every moment demands a response. Not every comment deserves your energy. And not every silence needs to be filled. When you are silent, you force people to engage with your presence, not just your voice. You give them space to think about you, to wonder about you, to reflect on your calmness. That is how influence is built. Not through constant noise, but through rare, valuable words shaped by deep thought and calm energy. We must learn to pause. In that pause, power builds. In that stillness, character is formed. When others rush to react, we wait. When others speak to be seen, we observe. When others shout to dominate, we remain still and we rise. The quiet man in the room often holds the strongest mind. He speaks only when he chooses to, not when he's pressured to. And when he does, every head turns. Not because his voice is loud, but because his silence has already spoken. Do not let the world pull you into its rhythm of fast replies, instant opinions, and shallow conversations. Walk your own path. Carry your silence like a weapon. Use your voice sparingly, but with precision. And remember, when you can stay silent while others cannot, you have already become someone they cannot ignore. Silence is not just the absence of words. It is the presence of power. And when you master that silence, you will no longer need to chase respect. Respect will find you. There is a quiet power in how we see the world and how the world sees us. This power is not about changing others, but mastering the lens through which they view us. The Stoics taught that perception shapes reality more than reality itself. If we control our own perception, we control the story others tell about us. We become the author of our presence, not its victim. When we look at respect, we often think it is something earned through loud actions or constant proving. But real respect does not demand. It commands silently. It is like a shadow that follows a man who does not chase it but walks with steady steps. This is the way of the Stoic. Marcus Aurelius, a ruler and philosopher, said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This simple truth extends beyond words and actions. It teaches us that respect grows from consistency, integrity, and truth. When we live honestly, the energy we give off builds a reputation without noise. People sense it. They feel the strength behind calmness and begin to trust without question. Respect, then, is perception shaped by the quality of our inner life. It is not about control over others, but control over ourselves. The world always watches for signs of weakness, doubt, anger, fear. These emotions break the image we build. But when we master these emotions, we stop giving the world reasons to look down on us. Instead, the world leans in, curious and cautious, ready to follow. Consider Epictetus' teaching. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This principle is the foundation of perception mastery. We cannot always change events or people's opinions, but we can control our reactions. In those moments where chaos seeks to pull us under, we choose calm. Where anger demands a voice, we choose silence. When fear whispers lies, we choose reason. This disciplined response rewires perception. It signals something powerful. This person is not moved by the storms outside. They are anchored deep inside. This anchor is not visible at first glance, but it feels heavy in the air around them. Others notice. They may not understand the source, but they feel its weight. Imagine a leader who never yells but makes decisions that save lives. Imagine a friend who never gossips but listens with full attention. Imagine a stranger who never boasts but walks with a quiet dignity. Their presence is magnetic, not because they force it, but because they embody it. The mistake many make is confusing noise for presence. Loudness fades. Drama disappears. But calm endurance lasts. It is like a mountain that does not move, regardless of the wind. People are drawn to mountains, not because they shout, but because they stand firm. Another Stoic, Seneca, wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This craving is a sign of weakness, of inner emptiness. When we crave attention, we lose power. When we are satisfied within, the world seeks us out. Our silence speaks louder than others' shouts. Mastering perception also means understanding that others' opinions are their own. We cannot control them, nor should we waste energy trying. The true Stoic focuses on what they can control, their thoughts, their emotions, their actions. By doing so, they become unpredictable, unshakable, respected. When we stop reacting to the world's noise, we create space for respect to grow. Respect becomes a natural side effect of our unbreakable composure. People begin to rely on us. They seek our guidance. We become their priority, not because we ask, but because we embody something rare: strength and stillness. This mastery is not easy. It demands self-awareness every moment. It demands that we watch our thoughts as carefully as a gardener tends to plants. It requires patience when the world seems to rush past us, impatient for quick results. The Stoic knows that greatness is built quietly, day by day, moment by moment. The power of perception mastery lies in humility as well. We do not show off. We do not seek praise. Instead, we act from a place of confidence rooted in truth. This humility invites others to trust us because they sense we do not manipulate or deceive. At the same time, we do not allow others to disrespect us. Boundaries are a part of this mastery. A Stoic does not endure insult silently out of weakness, but chooses how to respond with calm firmness. This balance between openness and strength forms the core of magnetic presence. The world will always be noisy. People will always seek to test our strength. But when we master perception, we become the eye of the storm, untouched, powerful, commanding respect without a word. This is the invisible law of inner supremacy. It is not found in loud achievements or visible trophies. It lives in the quiet control over oneself. It is the rule that those who conquer themselves become everyone's top priority. Remember, we cannot force respect, but we can deserve it. When we master how we are seen, we unlock a power far beyond words. The power to influence without control, to lead without demanding, and to be chosen without asking. The path is hard. The reward is priceless.